Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to discuss 20 things EA Sports could put in this game or into College Football 26 to make the Dynasty mode more holistic and true to real life. I will also be touching on how I believe it could be implemented in some cases. While I believe College Football 25 is one of the better additions into the college football franchise, or football games in general, there are still a few things missing from it that keep it from reaching its full potential, or being as true to real life as possible. Most of these I would assume the community would also enjoy, but some may be personal preference among certain players like myself. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and if you do, consider hitting that like and subscription button below. The channel has been going crazy lately, and that is all due to you all giving us so much support, and I really appreciate it. So without any more waiting, let's get into it. This first section will have a few things in it, but they will all center around transfers in the transfer portal. Starting off with number one, I would really like to see graduate transfers in the game. We see a ton of players take a 5th or even a 6th year in real life. It would be really awesome to see this be added as a feature. Obviously, this would complicate things on the progression front and how players graduate since we don't have classes in the game, but it could be some sort of randomly generated number, or it could be based off the IQ attribute. And if it was over a certain threshold, your player would consider going to grad school. My next point would be adding more transfer motivations. One glaring one I see is the coaching changes not affecting the portal enough. It is in there in a roundabout way, such as a coach stability metric, but I find that most players never have that as a deal breaker. And in real life, we see a ton of players leave when their coach does. Since we already have a coach trust mechanic in Road to Glory, we could see that implemented with various thresholds. If you are above a threshold with a player, they'll leave, but they may not follow you in the portal. But if you hit that max or close to it, the player would follow you or attempt to in the portal. This could also play into player morale, and we could see some buffs or nerfs to players due to the relationships with you. In this next session, I wanted to cover some various player management things EA could add in next year's game. So number 3, I would love to see medical red shirts be introduced. Too many times has a player been geared up for a great season, and then in week 1 he breaks his ankle and is out for the next 9 weeks. This would solve that one time and allow you to still use this player another time down the line. I would foresee them not getting a ratings boost, but maybe they could see an increase in their conditioning or injury stat to help prevent it happening again. For the fourth idea, I had a randomly generated player events. Similar to what we already see in Road to Glory, it would be awesome to see a player skip class and miss a test the week of a big game. So as a coach, you have to choose if you will let him play and possibly risk more players skipping class and ruining their GPA, making them ineligible, or sit him out and see a GPA boost because your players know now that there will be significant punishments for missing class. This would also add another layer of RPG to the Dynasty that would make the season even more hectic and immersive. Obviously, this feature should have a toggle to allow players to play with it if they choose so. For the fifth idea, I had it would be centered around players in the bowl games. All too frequently, we see players sit out of bowl games for various reasons. It would be cool to see a player who is gearing up for the draft to sit out to avoid injury. I could see this being annoying for some users, but maybe have the ability to persuade them to play or toggle to allow players to avoid this. For my sixth idea and the final one in the section, I would love to see more control over player development. I get there is a middle ground for players to not have to micromanage all 85 players' development, but it would be nice to be able to set a focus area for groups of players. But how realistic is it that a coach has no control whatsoever over how his player trains? Say I was really having a hard time in man-to-man coverage, I could set my DB room to focus on that in the offseason or throughout the regular season. So when the players spent points, they could spend them in those specific categories. So rolling into this next session will be pretty quick. There's only one topic I wanted to cover. So at 7, I would love to see a full time management system for things like training, recruiting, possibly some sort of study hall, and rest. This could be a blend of energy from Road to Glory and the recruiting hours we already have in Dynasty. This is probably asking a lot, as this would get harder to balance, but it would be really nice to have to min-max how you grow and maintain your team. One of my biggest gripes is the lack of historical data for College Football 25. So one way to combat this would be have a trophy room to view your own accomplishments, and possibly a banner hall showcasing former Heisman winners and national champions. I just really don't enjoy not being able to refer back to year 1 when I'm halfway through my Dynasty run and I have no idea who won, what, when it happened, or how it happened. Next, at number 9, I would love to see some sort of report wrapping up the season that you can look back on and refer to years down the line. This could be similar to NCAA 10, where they had a one-page report going over recruits, records, and stat leaders. It would be great to see every little detail, but I understand that would take a lot of memory to house all those stats and ratings and stuff. So something to look back on at a quick glance every once in a while could suffice here. For number 10, I would love to see the ability to save mid-game. Pretty self-explanatory, really. For this second and last section, I would like to change things in the middle of the dynasty. For example, how many times have we seen a team fall to the FCS level since they can't maintain an FBS team? The ability to add a team builder team in the middle of your dynasty would be a really cool feature. It would allow for a lot more realignment chaos and different ideas. The next thing I would love to be able to change in the middle of the dynasty would be the conference logos and names, or remove them outright. I would love to add back the Southwest Conference or the Big East, but there is no way to change to a logo or even change the name of a conference. With Team Builder being so useful, it would be pretty easy in my eyes to add logos in. Maybe deleting them could cause some issues with certain conferences, but it would be at least nice to be able to add more in. Coming in at the 13th thing, I know this list is getting pretty long. I'll speed it up to make it a little bit quicker for you all, but I would love to see upgradable stadiums. The ability to grow Kennesaw State from a nobody into a contender doesn't feel the same with that small of a stadium. Even if we would have to switch to a generic one, it would still be cool to see us as we grow from an 8,000 seat stadium all the way up to an 80,000 seat stadium. So for this last section, I'm going to do a lightning round. I won't be giving too much explanation on it, but if you want me to explain it some more, let me know in the comments and I'll respond there or make a follow-up video with more ideas. So these are the last few things I would love to see added to College Football 26 or 25 if they can do it. Draft classes transitioning to Madden, icing kickers, the ability to add one team builder team free of charge, playable FCS teams, all the FCS teams in the game, ability to redistribute coaching points, the Senior Bowl, and more rating disparity. And that will do it for us. I know this was a lot to ask for, but it would still be great to see at least half of these things come into the next game. Before you go, I would love to ask you to hit that subscribe button on your way out. It is completely free to you and helps grow the channel so we can reach more people that love College Football 25. Also, let me know what you all think should be added down below in the comments. I appreciate you being here and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.